listening to Sisters with a Y, Episode 7.
So have you ever been in a bad relationship that you knew was a bad relationship and stayed?
A couple of times.
And why do we stay? Why do we stay in these relationships that we know are either going nowhere or that we know are toxic? Why do people stay?
I wonder if you realize that they are not going nowhere. Or does everybody just go day by day?
I think sometimes there you don't realize that it's a bad relationship or that it's going nowhere. But I think other times we know it and we stay for whatever reason. I think part of it could be that when it's not bad, it's good. When it's not bad, it's really good. But maybe for some people it's not wanting to be alone. I think when I've stayed in a relationship that was bad, and not that it was bad like, oh my gosh, this person is mistreating me.
There was no violence.
No, it's just I knew that it was going nowhere.
When do you realize it's going nowhere?
Wow.
How long was the relationship?
The first one that comes to mind, it was almost a year and a half.
When did you know?
When did I know it was going nowhere? Probably a good 7-8 months into it.
Which is already a long time.
Yeah, that's already a pretty long time.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't. This is kind of a weird one because it wasn't in any way a bad relationship. We actually had a really good relationship. The problem was that we knew it was going nowhere.
And that's what I was gonna say. What if you know this relationship is going nowhere? I already know that to begin with, but it's not violent, it's not toxic. So why don't I just go with it? Because why not?
I don't think you should, because I also know people that do stay and then they're just in this relationship for long periods of time and they both know it's going nowhere other than that. And what I mean is it's not getting serious.
And this is
It's
only
kind of what I mean.
Do you think we're all looking for marriage?
No. No, I think there's people that don't want to get married, but you want something else, right? At some point, it needs to go to something else. It needs to go into some sort of commitment, not necessarily marriage, but some sort of commitment. Or I don't know, maybe it doesn't. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't need to go
what if
there.
You don't have an end goal and it's not a toxic relationship, but it's going absolutely, this is not going to be the man for the rest of your life, but why be alone?
But even if you don't quote unquote love them,
but you know that you don't love them.
You don't, so but hey, you don't hate them.
Exactly. There's too many benefits to that relationship.
I think that was one of our problems was that, you know, we had in about a year and a half had never said the L word to each other. But I think we were both what we wanted for each other.
Okay.
And because of that, we kind of, you know, stuck around thinking like, oh,
we're going to fall in love.
Yeah, we're going to eventually fall in love and this will be great. And then that didn't happen.
Yeah. Which I would say that I believe that we're all looking for love, whether it's a commitment, a marriage or anything, we're all looking for love. But then what about those marriages that are going nowhere? Because they're in a bad relationship, but they have children.
And it's bad because what?
Because they don't love each other no more and they don't like each other no more. But they stay there because it's a toxic relationship with quote unquote good
moments,
excuses, because your children, giving your children that father and mother home.
Well, see, I think that's a problem too. And I think we might have talked about this before. I think, yes, children will benefit from having a normal, quote unquote, normal household. But if it's a toxic relationship, no, you're hurting your children. You're doing the opposite. If you're staying, quote unquote, for the kids, but you're in this bad relationship and your kids are now seeing that, no. Believe me, you are better off alone.
So then that's, I think, the question. How do we know when a relationship is toxic? And I'm gonna think that we right away think toxic arguments, violence, cheating, all the rest, or where you're just not in love or where you just don't want to be alone. Like there's
There's
you're
so
not
many
in love,
different
if you're
reasons.
not in love but the relationship is not toxic,
Is it okay to
is
stay?
it okay? Should we stay? Because why be alone?
I don't
If we
know. I
could
mean,
go out with someone.
obviously I left, so obviously I don't feel that you should stay somewhere where it's loveless. But to me, it's more so I wouldn't stay there because that's sad. I did want to fall in love. I did want to be in love. I did want to be with someone that I was in love with.
Mhm.
And I am also a true believer that you are not in love every day. I've been
Yeah.
married, I've been with the same person for 15 years. We've been married for almost 14 years. You're not in love every day. And I
But
think,
you love
I think
them.
the moment that people realize that, we will have better relationships. You can't expect to be in love every single day.
And in
As
love,
long as you love this person,
yes.
and you know what? As long as you do have the days that you are in love, then you're A-okay.
And in love doesn't mean, I think we can't say there's no days that you're not in love. You could be in love. And love doesn't mean every minute I see his face, I'm smiling. It just means
Yes.
I'm in love to where I'm gonna work for our marriage. Meaning, I woke up and I said good morning, or I gave you breakfast, or I said get home safe, or those words. I don't think in love. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm in love. That means I'm gonna be hopping down the street. I don't even think I
Yes.
can skip.
Or those girls that say I get butterflies in my
Yeah,
stomach
you might
every day.
not.
Those butterflies are going to go away because guess what? Butterflies don't live forever.
Yes.
They are going to die. I'm sorry to inform you of that. But as long as every now and then I'm still getting those butterflies, because there is moments that I turn around and I think like, oh my gosh, like I really do love my husband, then that's enough for me. And to me, just to me personally, and I don't know, I'm sure everybody's different, I don't know that I would have been able to live or have a relationship with someone for a long period of time and never feel that.
No, I don't think you.
That
could.
wouldn't have been enough for me.
But I don't think I think it's defining love. I don't think being in love is butterflies. I think you can have butterflies because damn, that person
Look good.
look good. You could that could be just sexual attraction, physical attraction, whatever. He said something nice. He made your skin goosebumpy, whatever. I think in love means I'm okay with waking up to this person.
Yes, every day.
I'm okay.
And respecting this person.
And trusting.
Yes.
And
yes.
they're not building a toxic relationship.
And now I think everybody at some point has been in a toxic relationship. It's just it's almost
Or maybe
impossible to
not.
say. Maybe not. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe everyone else is like just super lucky.
Perfect.
Or those people. Maybe they've been with the same person since they were 15,
I
and
think
it's
that's
like
toxic.
happily ever after. But I have been in a toxic relationship as well.
Mhm.
And you stay there because honestly, no other reason than I really at the time I did really love this person.
Mhm.
But I knew that it was toxic to me. Again, not in a horrible way,
Yeah.
but it's just this person didn't treat me the way I felt I should be treated.
Mhm.
And so I left. And so that's I think that's what I don't understand.
When they don't leave.
Why don't people leave?
Oh, when people leave, because I've had people leave and they're like, I know I'm in the wrong relationship, but then it comes, and then I think it's loneliness, but I'm just talking for myself. You feel lonely. So you feel like, oh, you know what? I loved him. I should take him back, or I should call him, or I should do this. We don't give it, like, you confuse loneliness with love. You confuse it with, and they go back into this relationship because lonely felt so
Because
worse.
this toxicity, I don't
Gave
even
them
know.
the
This is
attention.
gonna feel better than being lonely.
Yes. For some people, I didn't go back. I don't
Yeah.
go back to the people that I left. Usually, I don't think so. But
But and what about people that are staying in a relationship that's toxic in a bad way? Not just you're hurting my feelings, not just you're not treating me the way I should be treated. No, bad, like there is all those arguments. There is that physical fights and all, like why do they stay?
there's disrespect. But
Yes.
I think once again we might go back to where when we were growing up. I heard love hurts. If it doesn't hurt, it's like beauty hurts. If it doesn't hurt, then you're not doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could. Yes, you are doing it right. It's just love hurts. You have to stay. You have to understand that this person is going through stress. You have to understand that they're having a bad time. No one ever tells you, yes, they're having that. And if you love them, help them. But if you love yourself, go.
And is that the problem? I think maybe the main problem is that the people who don't leave because they don't love themselves.
They don't love. I believe so. It might not be. I believe
I
that
agree.
if you love yourself, you wouldn't put up with it. But you think once you might have grown up seeing your parents go through this.
Mhm.
You might think, I need to put up with it, because once I put up with it, I remember, I think your son's, my nephew's dad's mom told you one time, you just have
If you
to
wait it out.
Yeah, if you just put up with it right now,
Mhm.
he's gonna turn out to be a wonderful man. So that means like raise him, because I didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
And once he becomes the man he's gonna become, then you would have stayed with a good man. I
That's
know
so true.
marriages.
Wait it out. Wait
Yeah,
it out.
Wait it
Mhm.
out. And I know marriages that did wait it out. They waited out
And then they
alcoholics.
had great significant others.
But because you're so tough. No, they stayed with the same person.
Like, did they ever become great?
They did. I know a couple that their man did become great, but at that point, you lost so much life.
Yes, you've already, and I think that's the other thing too. I don't know. I don't feel that any relationship should be considered a waste of time. But I also have always felt that my time is valuable. And I don't know that I'd want to waste my time on people that don't treat me well, or on people that I don't love. And it's always worked out for me. It's always worked out for me.
And I think that's a question. That's a question that we should do to ourselves. Whether if I died today and I had the chance to leave, would I have left this person knowing I was gonna die today?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think most people would have said yes. I don't want to die with this person by myself.
But then that can be with anyone though, even if you have a good relationship, because it can still be like, oh, I don't know, the grass is always going to look greener on the other side. It's, there's so much more to it. It's not just that. That's why I don't know. I feel that if people stopped doing things just because they were madly in love, stop just getting married because you're madly in love, and start realizing there's more to it.
Well, I think
there's so much more to it.
There's love. You should love. I believe, yes, you should love. But that shouldn't blind you
Exactly.
from knowing this person doesn't want what I want in life. He doesn't want kids. I want kids. I don't want kids. He wants kids. He wants a dog. I want a cat. It shouldn't, just because you love someone, it doesn't mean that you should be giving up your dreams and hopes and goals for them.
And you're you.
Yes.
You shouldn't say, well, now I'm going to be who this person wants me to be. You're always going to change a little. You are. And because also, that's the other thing too. If people say, oh, I would never change for someone, I would never change somebody else, guess what? You are, and you should.
And you want to, the thing is that you want to grow with this person.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to grow in different directions. And a lot of people grow in different directions, especially we got married at 18.
Yes.
And it's 20 years later. And I'm sorry, the people that I know in those type of relationships, they are cheating.
And it doesn't always work. It does sometimes. There's two, both older now, but there's two different couples that I'm thinking of. Both have been together since they were like 15 or 16, and are now, both of these couples that I'm thinking of are in their 60s. One of them is in their 70s, and are extremely happy, and I truly believe them.
Yeah.
But that's so rare.
Yeah.
That is so rare.
And because they're happy with how they grew into this relationship.
Yes, and they probably grew together in a good way.
Yeah.
Not grew. They didn't grow apart.
Yeah, and that's the problem, when you grow apart.
When you have different views.
Yes. And then staying, what I always ask people is, I have two baby daddies, so I stayed in relationships that I knew were not working out, and I knew one was toxic. They were both toxic in different ways, and I'm not gonna say there's physical violence, but emotional violence and verbal violence that stays with you longer than physical. It was there. And I think that at the end of the day I left because I've always had this thing that I truly believe there is the right person out there for me. When am I going to find them? Who knows? If you're there, hit me up.
Call me.
But
why did you stay?
I stayed because you think I'm gonna fall in love. I'm gonna make this work. And now I have children. And I rather with my son's dad, I rather not be alone. At this point, why am I alone? Why is everybody not alone? Or why is and I don't have a purpose. I needed this to give me a purpose.
It was definitely more of a personal issue.
It was a personal issue. I think everything is a personal issue. I think if you're looking for someone to complete you, to make you. Mm-hmm. As you grow older, you should realize that no one can do that.
Yeah, that no one can complete you. You've got to complete yourself.
You have to become
and there yourself. And I think part of it is
romantic
movies. Yes, movies. We grew up with these movies believing that we were gonna fall in love in this way and then run into somebody's arms and it was gonna be raining and we were gonna have these perfect bodies and our clothes were gonna be getting wet. And I'm going into a whole different thing, but and that's a thing that we picture this in our head, especially as girls. Yeah, you know, because
I wonder if guys have
maybe guys do too, because oh my gosh, my son probably does picture all that. But it's and then the princesses and how they find their prince and
totally wrong.
So then it happens, real life happens, and you don't fall madly deeply in love like this. No. It happens in a completely different way. You realize that relationships are not perfect, that you have to work at them. It's a like dream crusher. It breaks your heart. Like why do they even do that to us?
And then I think it's the older you get and the more you realize of who you are and who you've become. Some of us are going to be lucky that at 15 you know exactly who you are, you know what you want, you love yourself. And some of us are not. Some of us are going to be 42, finally realize who we are, what we want. To me right now, someone being in love with me would be like, you know what? Yes, you have issues and I just want to support you. And here's my bank account. And this is how much savings I have. How do you think we can buy a house? To me, that would be love at this point. That should be love always. Not like I'm going to sweep you off your feet, put you in my horse, and take you away. Because then what happens? Where do you live? Oh, we can live in a cardboard box.
And it's okay. And
some
people say that. And
you can live in a small apartment, but can you bring kids in a cardboard box?
I can't live in a small apartment. But
you shouldn't give up. You shouldn't lessen your goals or someone who loves you. I truly believe now is someone who's gonna support your dreams and goals, and should be somewhat similar to theirs. So you grow together and not apart. You should be able to enjoy being with that person. Not only, I love you, so I'm going to put up with you.
And I think that's the thing. People have to realize that. And we all want to hear it. We all want to hear that somebody else loves us. And yes, and we all want to see that in them too. But we have to realize that that's not enough.
And not everyone is for us.
They have to make sure that they're proving that to you. That they're doing things that
show you
that they want to do that. Yes.
It's not enough.
And there's people are going to be different. My husband and I are very different in very many ways. And my husband's not the most romantic. He thinks he is, but he's definitely not. He doesn't go out and do too many special things or come and tells me. I mean, you guys listen to episode, what was it, 3? Why do you think I'm fat? And he doesn't say probably the right things but you know what? He does a lot of things that remind me that one of the most important things to him is making sure that I'm okay. Making sure that I don't need anything.
His priorities are strict.
Yes. His priorities are his household.
His household, yes.
And it's not, I don't ever doubt that.
Yeah.
I don't ever doubt that because I don't, people who know me know one of the things I hate the most is pumping gas. I don't know why, but I hate it. I hate it. And you know what? My car rarely needs gas because he makes sure that he always does it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that I hate it.
Yeah.
And it's things like that to me are enough.
And
it's enough.
I think it's that. I don't know. The older I get, that's what I feel like. Tell people like, love should make you feel you should be their number one cheerleader. They should be your number one cheerleader. Even if you don't believe in it. If your husband comes and he's like, you know what? I believe that I'm gonna, I don't know, something ridiculous. But you even if you think, you know what? I don't think that's good for you. But is that gonna make you happy? Yeah. Then that's gonna make me happy to tell you, go for it.
And we need to do it even though it doesn't come naturally.
even if it doesn't
because
come naturally.
I think for both of us, for both my husband and I, it doesn't come
Yeah.
naturally. We don't just naturally say, yes, you're great, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. But when things happen, when my husband wanted to go back to school, then it was like, all right, it's what you want,
And it's-
go back to school.
And it's probably not gonna make you happy, but you should. How many times have we motivated our kids when we're truly thinking like, I don't know,
I don't know that that's for you.
That's for you, but let me motivate you because I'm not gonna be the one that brings you down.
Mhm.
So with your partner, that should be the same thing.
Mhm.
If you love them. My first husband, he was the one that was bringing me down. He was the one saying, you can't leave me because you're not worth more. So you start believing it, and then you don't leave because you believe you're not worth more. And then with my other partner, it was just the wrong relationship for both of us. I was not what would make him happy. He was not what would make me happy. We knew that since the beginning. And I was telling someone, my brother yesterday, that at the end of the day, I left my relationships because sometimes we don't look at ourselves at how unhappy we are. Even if we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't see it. But looking at their faces and how unhappy they were and realizing like, you're so unhappy.
Mhm.
You're so miserable. You're making me miserable because you're miserable.
Mhm.
And seeing that, I had to let them go because I couldn't imagine making someone so miserable for the rest of their lives. They could have made me miserable for the rest of their life. And now they're happier with whoever they are with. And why not?
And that's the thing I think also is, and I've told this to a couple before.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're just not for each other.
Yeah, you're not. Even if you
Because
are
have you also ever seen that couple that's like fighting or they're just like miserable
Uh-huh.
and then they break up and then the next person they meet they're extremely happy
Yes.
and they get married and then it's like, oh my gosh, like why did he do that? Because you weren't for him.
Yeah, and I could
You weren't
realize
for
that,
him.
and I feel like, wow, I hope my ex-partners realize that too, that it wasn't for us. Marriages that are in it for 30 years, 40 years, and they're just like, I'm just going with the flow. Like I don't know if I realize that you could be happy.
And I think that's the thing. I think realizing I've always made it very clear that my husband is not my soulmate, and I'm okay with that. My husband is not my soulmate, and I am not his soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And there's these girls who say, oh, but he's my best friend. Nope, my husband's not my best friend, and I'm not his, and I'm okay with that. And I'd like to believe that he's okay with that too.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the reasons I've said that if I ever die, he can go and live happily ever after with somebody else and find that. And that's okay too. But even though I'm okay with not being his soulmate and I'm okay with him not being mine, I would not be okay with us not loving each other.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that even though we have to work hard at it, he knows, and I've always been very clear, I am not okay with us being in a relationship and not being in that relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would never be okay with us just being in it for the kids.
Yeah.
It's like,
Because
okay,
it catches up.
at the end of the day, we are in it for the kids, but we need to love each other.
Yeah.
We need to have a relationship, because if not, I don't know. I just personally couldn't live that way.
And I don't know if people realize that it catches up sooner
Yes.
or later. If you're just going with the flow, I don't want to be lonely. We're in it for the kids. When it's all the other reasons except I still love you, therefore I'm gonna make an effort to make this work. Do you not realize that everyone else knows you're not happy?
Mhm. Oh, and especially if it's a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a bad relationship, and in that case, not only are you screwing your kids up,
Oh yeah, but you don't
and
realize it.
everybody knows that you hate each other,
Yes.
but or that you're living in this bad relationship, but maybe they don't hate each other. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Can we truly say that this toxic relationship that we both know, do they think they love each other?
No.
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 Are they fully?
One
Are they
person.
fully aware? Because
I think-
I've told them that they should not be together. They shouldn't. They should definitely let each other find somebody that would make them happy. But do they believe it? I don't know. In their happy moments, because they also have their happy moments.
I think in the happy moments they think they do, but I think let's go back to where I think it's the root of the problem. And I know people don't want to hear this because we always blame mom and dad, but when we're growing up, when you're born, and your parents, whoever, if you're raised by mom and dad or mom or dad, you learn how you're gonna define love.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes mom hits you or dad hits you and tells you, because I love you, I'm doing this.
Mm.
Sometimes mom tells you, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that. We grew up, a lot of us also, with toxic parents.
Mm-hmm.
And or seeing toxic parent relationships between them and the other person, or hearing love doesn't exist. So what are you looking for?
Yes.
Because they didn't know what love is. So I think like this couple that we're talking about, I don't think they know any different.
Like this
I
is just
truly
it.
believe they don't know what love is. I truly believe they've never been
That was
love.
my next question. Do you
In
think
love.
they've ever been in love?
No, because me at 42 and going to baby daddies once again, I could say now and going back and kind of thinking it and thinking of the people that have been important in my life, I could say truly now maybe more comfortable that I've been in love once. And those were not my baby daddies.
You don't think you were in love with your husband in the beginning?
No,
No?
no, I hated him. I thought he was the ugliest person on earth.
Well, I mean, I know you
No,
said
yeah.
that,
No,
But-
I think at one moment being with him, I can say maybe I thought I love him, but truly if I sitting alone and thinking, even in that moment, no.
because I think it's so different.
And we never said it.
think-
We didn't even say that
Oh,
we
no?
got married.
Oh, okay.
We might have said it once at the beginning, but never.
And not
ever.
that saying it makes it
No, no,
true,
no.
but yes, but I see what you
But
mean.
also being in love would not stop you
from saying it. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's so many different kinds of love. Some people say you only love once. No, I disagree. I think you
No,
love plenty
many
of times.
times,
You love
yeah.
a lot. Well, depending, maybe you don't love a lot, but,
Well,
but you
and
love
you
a
know
lot.
how many people you know.
You know, but it varies. It's not always the same. It's always going to feel different. And the other thing too is that we also have to realize at the end of the day that the fact is that love is a belief. I always explain to my children that believing in God at the end of the day, and some people aren't going to like this comment either, at the end of the day, we have to understand that it's a belief. God is not
Yeah.
a fact. It's not true.
Mhm.
We believe that it is.
Yeah.
But someone else saying that they believe it's not, completely fine.
And love, exactly.
And love is exactly
we all
the
have
same
different
way.
definitions for it.
Exactly. The same way
Different.
that we think that this couple doesn't love each
Yeah.
other, they can truly believe that they do.
Definitely.
And them believing it, that is enough.
But
That
once-
means they do. And because there is no way to describe love or no
No.
true definition of love,
Yeah.
then that's a hard one. Because you say, have you ever been in love? Then it's kind of like, then
Hold
you
on.
then you do start thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe I really haven't. Maybe I think I have, but maybe I really haven't.
And I think it's that, like I said, maybe in the beginning with my ex-husband, people did think like she does love him. I think you have to at one point question it. Well, first of all, that's your first question. What do I think love is?
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, did I love myself at the moment? No. So was I just looking for someone to love because I didn't love myself?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore,
Mhm.
creating a relationship that would validate my existence in this world. I have a person that says he loves me and he lets me love him, but yeah,
So then
it
it's
doesn't.
okay.
It's not even in my definition because I have to define it now as what does it mean to love myself?
Mhm.
Okay, well, it means this. So then, me loving someone else has to mean the same thing.
And I think one of the same way that we were saying that it all goes back to your parents, I think
Yeah.
people have to understand that my mom, or our mom, we always say my,
Yeah.
but our mother does not believe in love.
No, at all.
She doesn't believe it exists. She doesn't believe in marriage.
No.
It is really hard to get her to understand the way we were just talking about this, the
Yeah.
way relationships work. Because she's never really had a relationship. She was with my stepdad for 14, 15 years. But I think we can honestly say that she never loved him.
Oh, she says it.
Yeah, she was with him for convenience.
Oh, and that's the thing too. We grew up thinking you have to see what's convenient
For you, yes.
Not, oh, when you fall in love and whatever. No, look for what's convenient.
And her first love, and this is probably what ruined her very first love, which was our father, broke her heart.
Yeah.
You know, treated her like poo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just ruined her forever.
Yeah.
And after that, she just thought, okay, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And even now, till this day, she doesn't believe it exists.
No.
And she doesn't, you know.
She can't accept it also in nobody else. That's what I say. How you're raised makes your vision. It's like when you're wearing pink colored glasses, everything is pink. If you're wearing yellow, everything is yellow. If you grow up thinking that this is how life works, that's usually what you lead with until I always figure you're at a certain age where you become aware,
like you snap out of
yeah,
it.
that this is.
But
I
think because of it, and I think probably all of us. I don't know that I want to speak for all of us, but probably all of us, all four of us, at some point had an issue with defining love.
Yes,
With
definitely.
knowing, and all of us in different ways.
Yeah.
I think some of us, stayed in bad relationships. Some of us left every single relationship they had.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it was just very, I don't know, I think I can personally say it was very easy for me to leave every time I felt I had feelings for a person.
Yes, because then also if you fall in love, you're gonna become dumb.
Yeah,
You're an
now,
idiot.
oh yeah,
Now you're
so
gonna put
dumb.
up with everything.
Yes.
Now you're gonna forget what you want. Once again, the wrong definition for
And,
love.
I mean, to my mom, I think even when,
For
and,
her,
and that's
right.
that she adores my husband.
Uh-huh.
When I told her that we were gonna get married, it was still like why are you guys gonna get married?
Yeah. Why do you have to do that?
Yeah. And that's how we weren't telling her like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get married because we're so madly, deeply in love. Because we didn't. We got married because I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And again, I'm totally okay with that.
Which now, and imagine that, like now, hopefully one day I can say it. Wow, look at, I'm so madly, deeply in love. But doesn't it even sound ridiculous for us to one day when someone's gonna say that? Because we're gonna be like, what are you talking
But
about?
does it sound ridiculous to everyone?
No.
No,
That's my
maybe
point.
people are
It's
thinking I'm
us.
so madly, deeply in love. But I also truly believe people out there that we would have a better marriage rate or a lower divorce rate
Yeah.
if people stop doing that. If people stop doing this, I'm so madly, deeply in love. Like, no, like, great, you should be in love, but start realizing everything else. Is this person going to be good to me?
Yeah.
Does this person want what I want? Is
Yeah.
this person, I always say we're all gonna settle.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there and you're saying I did not settle or I will never settle, newsflash, you will.
There's certain
Or
things.
you're never gonna have anybody.
Yeah, you
There-
can't have perfection.
No, there is no perfection, and even though those movies told us there was, there
isn't.
is no perfection. But you have to also know where you want to settle.
Yeah.
There's this settling thing that I talk about and that I'm okay with doesn't mean that I was gonna settle for this idiot.
No, it's like superficial
Or that I
stuff.
was gonna settle for this guy who treated me bad.
Yeah.
No, it's what are your priorities?
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted someone that was taller. I really wanted someone that was tall and had a really muscular body. My husband's not the tallest, and then so I had to settle for that.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't willing to settle for someone that wasn't going to treat me the way I feel I should be treated.
Yeah.
And
What should be the most
that,
important.
and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. When it's someone that in some way is doing something out of your liking, then you have to stop and think, am I willing to
Put
be
up
with this
with it.
person forever?
Yeah.
Is that going to be okay?
But then to me right now, what gets to me is how do we change? How do we, for the people, I get it, for the ones that we already know, okay, who I love, I can define it, I'm aware, I know what I want this and that, great. We're one step closer to being who we are. But how about the people that are in a toxic relationship and says, I can't get out because there's no better. And there's no way of getting it in their head. Because you see, I got out knowing that this person can have something better, and then in the long run, I can have something better. But I also know people that if they were in my shoes, would have been like, you've been alone 2 years. Oh my God.
What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do it?
I had people tell me, and with my first husband, I had people tell me, like, you've been alone already a year. Call him. Just take him back. You're not gonna do better. You're not.
Oh my
And
God.
so that's, to me now, I'm like, how do we change that? Because that's
Because
a problem.
these people that convince these people that they're not going to do better, they're brilliant.
Oh yeah.
They are saying like, oh well, you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
You're never gonna find anyone.
No.
Or you're this age. You're never gonna find anyone.
Oh,
I don't
which
know.
a coach did say that, I'm kind of believing it now. He said, good luck, sister. If you're over 40, good luck.
Well, we gotta think, if people in their 30s are finding it hard, then people in their 40s are gonna find it even harder. But who cares? I don't know. But maybe
and that's my point.
But maybe because I do, and I think that is one of the things that that in maybe in a bad way, but that is one of the things that I do thank my mom for.
Mhm.
I do feel that she is very much a thank you next type of girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And not anymore,
Oh,
because
yeah.
now she's older.
Now she should be.
And now she should be. We're hoping, but if you know anybody that's over 70, please call us. But she did say, you move on. You don't sit there and cry
Oh,
over
no.
someone you lost. You
Never.
move on. And I think that was very helpful.
Always throw away the sock because he'll come back for that sock.
Yes.
Throw it
Yes.
away.
And so I think that was very helpful.
Yes.
That was also very helpful, where we can do that, where we can say,
But it gets-
let's move on.
It's a learned also, because I could be sincerely honest and say that after my first husband and we separated, I was single 2 years. Let's say the same amount as of right now. So I was single 2 years, and then it got to the point, I don't know, because I was still under 35,
Mhm.
I was very like, okay, and I was dating and I was going out and I was
Mhm.
doing everything to make myself happy. Supposedly. But hearing this, but you're alone. But aren't you lonely? Or hormones or age. I don't know where it happened that I did take whoever was willing to give me a relationship.
But it's well,
Would I do it
not
now?
only
No.
did you have the wrong people telling you this,
Yes.
but you also had
Yes.
issues that you had to deal with.
Exactly.
Which I would
And I
say,
didn't.
which I would say that now, not that you're fixed, hallelujah,
No.
but now you're at a much better
Oh,
place
yeah.
in your own
Yeah.
life.
Because I tell people, yeah, and sometimes I have a friend or whatever, my
Mhm.
cousin. She's gonna know I'm talking about her. But she'll be like, wow, I've been, I don't know, 3 months without. Or she said something like, I've been 40 days without, intimacy.
Mhm.
And I'll be like, I've been 865 days without. and I'm perfectly fine with it. And I go,
She'll be fine. She'll survive.
what I realized this time around, where I said I'm fixing myself and I'm not listening to the wrong people, because
Mhm.
once you start fixing yourself and you start loving yourself, you realize who the wrong people in your circle are.
Mhm.
At least wrong to what you want. And I can say now, yes, do I want to date? Of course. Am I willing to give up my peace and sanity to put up with any bullshit? No.
And I think that's the thing too, not wanting to put up with stuff. And
Yeah.
you always, again, we do have to put up with stuff that we don't
Certain.
want, because I can't say that I don't put up with anything. I put up with a lot, but you have to know what you want to put up with.
If
And I
you're
think
crying every day, you're in the wrong relationship.
oh, for sure. If you're crying at all, you're probably in the wrong
Yeah,
relationship. It's just not. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I put up with a lot of stuff. Nothing that's gonna make me sit here and cry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference. That's the difference. It's
Yeah.
what you're putting up with. And and maybe that's just me being fortunate, but I've also, sorry, my dog is having nightmares. Luna. But I've always been very fortunate too, that I've never had that belief. I've always known, like, I don't care if I have a kid, I don't care if I have two. I have no doubt in my mind that somebody will want me.
And that's
That's just who I am.
Yeah.
But I think now, also going back to that relationship that we were talking about that I had for about a year and a half, that was part of it too. And that's that I was young. I was really young.
Yeah.
But I had been single for a long period of time, because I had not been with my son's father
Yeah.
for years, and then it was probably about 6-7 years, and
Mhm.
and I did have people telling me, like, you're single, and I said I had people in and out of my life, but
Yeah.
it was like, you're single, you could never have a relationship, you just don't know how to have a relationship.
Start seeing it wrong.
So I think that was part of it. Part of me staying
Yeah.
was to prove to people
That you
that I
could.
could have a relationship,
Exactly.
even though I was in this relationship that I could care less about.
Being single should not be how you're judged. Being
Yes,
single should not
and
be
I
your
think that's
status.
the problem. The same way that being married should not be.
No,
You shouldn't
no.
be judged for that either.
Because we don't know what goes on.
Or wanting to be with someone that you love, you shouldn't be judged for that either. But once you're putting up with hurt, once you're putting up with people hurting you, or
You're
people,
in the wrong relationship.
yes,
You'd
then,
rather
then,
be
then
alone.
I'm sorry. We should judge you.
Yes.
We should all sit here
But
and
we should
judge you.
help you, because unfortunately you probably have people around you saying that this is how it goes.
But I think that's
And
the
it's not.
question. How do you help these people if they don't
Yeah.
want to leave? Do you help
Yeah.
them stay together?
So you lock them up.
Do you help them? Do you help them leave each other? Do you help them fix themselves?
I think
at the end of the day, that's it. I told my son at a really young age once, well, not really young, he was in high school, but once he decided, that he was gonna have a girlfriend, and I was like, okay, one of the first things I told him was never stay with someone you do not want to be with, no matter what.
Yes.
No matter what, no matter how much pain you would cause them.
Yes.
Even though they're madly, deeply in love with you, don't ever stay with someone because you don't want to stay with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's always kind of been my motto. Leave if you don't want to be with that person anymore. And this doesn't mean that you don't work at your relationship, because you do. But if you truly don't want to be there, then you shouldn't be there.
And I think hurts less than lying and staying with someone.
And I think it was years later that my son told me something. I forget what it was even about, but he did mention that to me again. If it's, one thing that you taught me was to never be with someone that I don't want to be with. And that's, I felt like, okay, boom, I won. That's it. That's all I need. And I think to me, that's a big thing. Some people will say, no, you shouldn't be just leaving people left and right. And you really shouldn't. But if you don't want to be with them,
someone else
then
can make them happy.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. If you see yourself and you're not at your happiest, or that other person is not at their happiest, let them be. Let them go. Let them find someone that's going to make them the best that they can possibly be, because you're not making them the best.
And that's the truth. Loving someone is wanting the best for them, even if it's not you.
Yes. And I think that's a great way of putting it. And loving yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Loving yourself is saying, you know what? This person is not for me, and I need to move on, and I need to find someone that's going to make me happy. Because that makes such a big difference. I mean,
close the door. Don't try to be their friends. Don't keep them on your phone.
Oh, my gosh, no. I don't believe this whole let's be friends. No. Don't be friends with anyone you leave.
Unless you co-parent. When you stop.
And if you co-parent, be friendly.
Yes.
Because if you co-parent and you're friends, and I've done that as well, it didn't work.
Separate your being a couple from being a co-parent. Two different things.
Yes.
Not the same thing.
Yes. So let's go ahead and end this with a quote.
Okay.
Love is not only something you feel, it is something you do. Question you soon.
Till next time.